If you meet me at the corner of Russell and Albina, just about a block from Mississippi Avenue, I'll take you to a house where they hang carpets on the wall. And if we go there on a Sunday, there's a song I'll take you through.
Welcome to Open Mic America. I'm your MC, and I'm joined by Evan AC as our interviewing host, together with Tamara AC. We have a team this time, and with TK Tran back in the engineering booth. And we are joined in the room by our fearless founder, Capo Dave Williams. Our mission is to support your local open mics and I guess your acoustic music in the community. And it's our pleasure to present the more accomplished singer-songwriters who play at those events. Without gimmicks or frills, this is the beating heart of American music, that tapestry of story and song that's been weaving us together for generations. And now let's introduce all of our performers on this beautiful October afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Number one, we have William Woltz from Raleigh, North Carolina. You can wave, William. Great. John Paul Dove from Union, Mississippi. And then we have Alice Osborne from Raleigh, North Carolina. We have Andy and Judy from Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Mike Simpson from Saratoga, California. Rich Fassler from Bainbridge Island, Washington. We have Tony Lowe from Greensboro, North Carolina. And to close it off, Mark Bishop Evans from Phoenix, Arizona. And just so you'll know, you can find links to the work of these performers on our website and in the description of this YouTube video. So without further ado, our first guest is William Woltz from Raleigh, North Carolina. And William enjoys playing at the Wake Forest in Farmers Market in North Carolina. It's a really low-key environment, he says, where you can workshop new songs without a lot of pressure, and a lot of songwriters like that. And he also plays a lot of events at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Who knew? Take it away, William.
Okay, thank you. It's really good to be here. This is my first time, and I really appreciate the invitation. A technical disclaimer, I'm going to take the earbuds out because they're driving me nuts. So if you need to get my attention, just wave at me between songs, and here we go.
Okay, we don't want a performer going nuts, do we?
This song is called So I Did Nothing, and I think it's fairly self-explanatory. The midday sun beat hot on Carolina, dusty schoolyard where we met to play. A crowd of boys and one a little different. I can see his face like yesterday. He was small, his clothes were old and ragged. The other boys just would not let him be. I recall the way the child was crying, and I was glad it was him instead of me. And I did nothing, although I knew that it was wrong. I said nothing of the safer bet to go along. Just children acting out the lies they learn at home. You don't say nothing. They said our schools were separate but equal. Even a child could see that was not true. With textbooks torn and falling all to pieces, we only got them after they were through. They taught me Jesus loves the little children, how precious red and yellow, black and white. They said that slavery's written about in the Bible somewhere. You know, it's what God intended to be right. And I did nothing, no man, I knew it must be wrong. I said nothing, just shut your mouth and go along. Defend your way of life before they take it all away. Don't say nothing. So many tears, so many years have passed us by. Old attitudes must surely die, and yet these feelings burn. Battle flags and tired bronze soldiers, tools of war slung on our shoulders. When will we ever learn? Our children's children play on that old schoolyard. So much has changed, the kids are still the same. I want the world we leave them to be better. They all deserve a fair chance in the game. Today we argue about the lives that matter, and we stand our ground in terms of us and them. When will we see we're all in this together? When will we trust the truth that lies within? So don't do nothing because you know so much is wrong. Just say something, we've really known it all along. Live your life in peace and love your neighbor as yourself. Just do something. Could you just say something? Say her name. If we all said something, wouldn't that be something?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful song.
That was a fabulous song, William.
I hear
that was
you.
a fabulous song, man.
What
Thank
a
you so
great way
much.
to
Great
open,
song.
too. Wow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Shall I,
Inspirational.
Shall I go forward?
Go. Yes, we want
All
to
right.
hear what else you sing for us.
Okay. This is a song about a kind of a bittersweet song about a trip to the beach many years ago. Somewhat fictionalized at this point. It's called Dolphins. Practice swing. Launch the car onto the highway, sail her east down 64. A bold escape from all the mad triangles of our lives, to seek redemption at the shore. The captain and his lovely first mate. A daring dog completes our crew. Hey babe, can you smell the ocean? Hear the breakers calling you. The dolphins came today. We watched them as they played at daybreak, bodies making black arcs in the orange of the sun. From high atop this old brick beacon, a new world stretches far below. Hey ma'am, can you take our picture? We'll always have something to show. We put our rowboat in the shallows to seek adventure in the sound. But a Piedmont boy don't know slack water. I had to jump out and push when we ran aground. Dolphins came today. We watched them as they played at daybreak, bodies making black arcs in the orange of the sun. Hold on tight to what you want to last. Still it slips right through your hand. Love is riding on the swells of endless ocean. We're here watching from the sand. Don't know when I felt so close to you. A moonless walk upon the beach, and in the dark our destination seemed to be so clear, but always 2 steps out of reach. So every journey has to have an end. We sailed back toward our setting sun, back to the shores of rank confusion, to watch our lives become undone. The dolphins came today. We watched them as they played at daybreak, bodies making black arcs in the fire of the sun. Dolphins came today in the mists and in the gray of memories. And I could only watch a moment before I turned away.
Oh gosh. I wonder if he can hear us that we're clapping now. We have to keep clapping until he puts on his headphones.
Hi, I'm back.
There. Now do
Very
you
good.
hear us clapping?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much.
Gosh, that was
You're too
so
kind.
beautiful, William.
Good stuff.
So beautiful.
You.
So, William, I've noticed that on your website you say that you've been playing for over 4 decades, and so it's very clear from the skill that you presented that you're really been playing for a good long time. So, a couple of things that make me wonder about William Woltz. So I see that you play in a band called Loose Change, and I noticed
Yes.
that loose is not spelled Loose. And I know that people might call you William Waltz. And so do you actually, was that a play, and did you name the band?
There's another member of the band named Jim Luce. So we kind
Oh,
of,
okay.
yeah, it was kind of low hanging fruit. What are we going to call this daggone band? How about Loose Change? So
Okay.
yeah, Jim and I are kind of the founders, and we started as a duo, and we're up to 5 people now with a percussionist. So and we play around Raleigh a lot. We do we're more of the cover band. We do a lot of Bonnie Raitt. We have an excellent singer, Sarah Monroe, who is just a really great interpreter of Bonnie Raitt tunes. She can do some things that stop you in your tracks, and so that's Loose Change.
Thank you.
But I also play a lot with a violinist in Wake Forest, a woman named Angela DePaolo, and we're doing more of the original things, hers and mine, and violin and guitar stuff together. So I have a couple of outlets.
I'm glad you mentioned DePaulo and correctly pronouncing her last name, because I know that name is that. And, so thank you for that. People will see that name and think DePaola is usually the common misinterpretation of the pronunciation.
Oh, you hear all kinds of crazy stuff in North Carolina, believe me.
So one of the things that I always wonder about, the people that you're playing with, so your friend is obviously somebody you played with for a while. The other members of the band, are they friends, or are they musicians that you pick up as you go along the way?
Uh, well, both. They're friends first, really.
Excellent.
It's not like we've ever auditioned anyone. It's not like we've ever gone out and said, okay, we need to fill the bass guitar chair. It's just people that we're friends with and comfortable with. And a lot of, I mentioned the Wake Forest Farmers Market. A lot of things have happened in that venue because, hey, sit in with us on Saturday, and it works. So then it becomes 2 Saturdays, and we just go from there.
I love that. Actually, that was one of the things that I wondered about you, because I live as a musician in the local community. Also, I have a lot of opportunities to play globally, but I seem to enjoy the local connection. And so you're given an opportunity when you join Open Mic America to talk about any place that you feel important to your musical life. And you chose a local community place. And so I just wondered, what's happening in that community that made you feel like that was really important to who you are today?
Well, it's home. It's home. I can go home and sleep in my own bed at the end of a gig, But it's where I've lived and worked, and I grew up in North Carolina, so this is just very comfortable for me. Now, I'd like to expand. I recently retired from a career in radio, so I've got a little more time to work on things, and I would like to get out and in the world at large and do more gigs and do some of the things I didn't do when I was 19. I didn't drop out and join a band at that point, so now I'm dropping out and joining a band, figuratively speaking.
I am curious, especially with that first song, lyrically, really was just grabs you. Do you, when you're writing a song, do you start with a tune on the guitar or musically and then write the lyrics, or do you start with a theme poetry first?
It could be either way. I am not a very prolific songwriter. I mean, I churn out 1 or 2 a year. It seems like maybe a little more, but there's no set pattern. I do believe the words are the more important part of a song. The lyrics are what reach people, and that's where the meaning is. So in theory, a lot of times I will start with a lyrical idea and then expand on that. But I'll admit, sometimes I'm walking behind the lawnmower, and I just kind of got the rhythm going, and I'm like, okay, and and things just all kind of jump into your head. So it's not strictly one way or the other. It's just however a particular song comes together is, I'm very grateful for that.
Nice.
Great songwriting, William. We're glad to have you on the show
Thank
today. Daphna, what's up next?
Well,
Thank
first,
you.
I'm very grateful for William Woltz and his songs also, just for the record. That was just such a pleasure to listen to.
Thank
And
you so much.
next we have John Paul Dove from Union, Mississippi, and he wants to make a shout out to I think I'm pronouncing this right, Natchez Brewing Company in Natchez,
Yes.
Mississippi.
Yes.
Take it away, John Paul.
All right. I may yet one day find my rest, dropping near upon my chest. Hear nothing there, no more regrets, no kind regards, no bated breath. I may yet one day find my rest. I may yet one day find my rest. Sneak out alone and penniless. It's every poet's path, I guess. We sing of what we know the best. I may yet one day find my rest. I may yet one day find my rest. I never promised victory or a life long lived, but I'll fight a little longer still. If there's something in me left to give, hold on another breath, hold on another stride. When I told you that I loved you, I never lied. I never lied. I may yet one day find my rest. I may yet one day find my rest. All right.
Wow, that was a hymn, John
Beautiful.
Paul. That was a hymn.
All right. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Well, this one, this next one I'm going to do is a song that I wrote about two things that I have a hard time with, and that's love and appliance repair. Yeah, I'm not good at either one of those, so just decided I'd put it all in one song. So here it goes.
echo with the slamming of the door. I dropped my latest toy from the hardware store. And upstairs under barricade she lies. The wall she's built around her, man, I'm never gonna climb. It's not that I think there's another man. She shut that room down long ago, and no one's getting in. I guess the years bring a comfort with the pain. Son, you're living with a stranger who shares your last name. So I grab my things and then I settle in. Grab a drink with one hand and grab my crescent wrench. Some things seem so big for such a man. So I swallow what I must and do what I can. But the dog and the camel, they're laughing at me. I can't fix my girl or the washing machine. Well, I still love that woman, whatever that means. God love the girl, damn the washing machine. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was even better than all the other songs about love and appliances.
I know. I'm trying to corner the market on it. I'm really like that's kind of my goal. That's my angle.
I love it. I love it. So I'm really curious. How long have you been songwriting?
Well, to some degree, since I first picked up one of these things about a long time ago. Yeah,
We won't go there.
yeah. It's yeah. I got a guitar when I was like 10 years old, and I started writing immediately. But just played in different bands. Kind of did that for a few years right in college, and so just kind of lived in a van and did that thing for a few years. So we were just on the road. So
I loved them both.
Yeah, they were both really great songs. Thank you,
thank
John.
you.
So, I have some curiosities. It looks to me like you might be in a new place physically. There's not a lot on the walls behind you. And I may be wrong about that, but what's...
Well, okay, so where I actually live is in the middle. I mean, it's Mississippi and it's all fairly rural, but where I live is really remote. The last time I tried to do the show, I was having trouble with the internet out there, so I'm actually at a friend's place. I had to, yeah. So this is his office. Anyway, so I could get some good internet. So
That's good. Actually, we're glad that you were able to do it this time because your music was worth waiting for, I have to say.
Thank you.
And,
so much.
I'm kind of curious, as I'm looking at what you've given us to find out about you pre-show, I see on Facebook that you recently had an encounter with an owl. And
with an owl.
For those of you who don't know, John was headed down the road and saw an owl on the side of the road, just like standing there with some icicles on him. And it's quite an interesting story about what John discovered with this owl over the period of a couple of days. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, that kind of feeling, I think a lot of people really have those feelings and that connection with the world around us, and the cycle of life and the circle of it. And it just kind of made me wonder, how do you deal with that gnarly spider that's in your living room?
What, do you see something I don't? No, but yeah. I mean, wow, that's, you did your research. Good job. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I really, I don't know. I think that there are greater truths out there, in the normal everyday life, and I think most everybody here, if you're either a fan of songwriting or a songwriter yourself, you kind of understand that. There, the world is filled with symbols, and so just like the owl that I saw, I don't know, it just really spoke to me. And yeah, I saw it. It was frozen there. I thought it had frozen solid. This was a couple of years ago now, but yeah, and I just tried to help it along. And anyway, it really spoke to me. And I've been trying to actually write a song about that. So at some point, I'll finish that, and maybe I can come on again and play that song about the owl.
And if you can write such an amazing song about a washing machine, I know that when you write that
Well,
one, it's going to be impactful.
well, thank you so much. And yeah, I really, that whole angle, I think really is, I listened to a lot of John Prine when I was
Mhm.
in my formative years. So my dad was a big fan of John Prine. So he just had a really interesting way of looking at the world, and so I really took to that. And so that's my attempt at a John Prine song.
Nice. Well, John, thank you for bringing your interpretation of that and what's in your heart too. Never be afraid to show what's inside of you, because the world is eager to hear what each
Well,
one of us has to say, and you brought it today. Thank you for that.
hey, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Daphne, what do we got up next?
Yes, thank you, John Paul Dove. And next we have someone who I am proud to call a personal friend, because of Open Mic America, I got to meet Alice Osborne from Raleigh, North Carolina, and she even came to my house at a certain twice. So next we have Alice Osborne from Raleigh, North Carolina, and she likes to play at a place called the Fainting Goat Sunday Chill in Fouquet Varina. Is that what it's called, Alice?
Fuquay Arena. That's actually where I had my CD launch of Skirts in the Snow, which I'll play 2 songs off the album.
My goodness, that's
Hey,
when
you're on the album, aren't you? And so is William Waltz.
Yes, I see the album behind you. We're eager to hear. So take it away, Alice.
Great. Thank you so much. So my first song is called I Thank Nobody But God, Stark, and the Virgin Mary. And it's from the voice of Peggy Breen, who had 7 kids and her husband. They did really well in the Donner Party, and spoiler alert, they all survived. But it was a critical point in their survival. They were just rescued, and then a snowstorm came right at Donner Summit, and they had 11 people were there, and Peggy Breen was the only one who was getting food for everyone. People were dying, people were starving. It was a horrible, probably one of the worst situations. The rescuers came, and all the rescuers said, we can't save them, except one man, and his name was John Stark. And he did what the rescuers should have done, but he rescued what they thought, he rescued folks that they thought could not be rescued. And for the rest of her days, Peggy Breen said this: I thank nobody but God, Stark, and the Virgin Mary. And I did not really write the song. John Stark and Peggy Breen wrote the song. My Irish luck has almost run out. Everyone here dead, I'm left to feed them all. Just yesterday you told me, let the boy die, mother, he'll be better off. a voice of the wind. Nothing to eat except those who died to graves, and a Donner child. What am I supposed to do, choking on the blessed bones? Do you hear a voice? It says, oh, I hear a voice. It says, I'm on a mission of mercy, and I won't do half the work. Save the others, but I'll stay by these people for as long as it takes. John Starr spared us not before we froze somewhere in time. Oh, he laughed, I could carry all at once, if only my back were broad enough. 'Cause I'm on a mission of mercy, and I won't do half the work. Save the others, but I'll stay by these people for as long as it takes. This kind man is my savior. I thank nobody but God, Stark, and the Virgin Mary.
Wow. Well, beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful.
So much.
Oh, Alice. Bravo.
And the next song is called Searching for Paradise. It was the very first Donner Party song that I wrote back in 2018. So this is the one that started it all. Tamsin Donner is the voice in this one. And she has two stepdaughters at this point in the story who have been rescued by the first rescue party in March of 1847. And the story takes place in 1846 and goes on to 1847. And she is staying with her husband, George, and there are three little girls. Eliza, who's on my necklace, she's 3, Georgia, who's 5, and Frances, who is 6. She doesn't want to leave, but she knows it's critical that they start getting out. And then they do get out at the third relief, and they are rescued by William Eddy, who is the chief rescuer and a survivor himself. And he's already been over the mountains in the first rescue party, which was in December and January, and he's come back. He just lost his son. He just found this out, and he rescues the 3 little girls, and she tells him, oh, please save my children. And that's at that point where she leaves the kids with him. They go off. She goes back to George. George dies. She tries to escape, and unfortunately, nobody ever sees her alive again. And this is her story. Wagon filled with books and wonder. Dear husband navigates in thunder. In the fall, I'll build a new school, teaching girls math and the golden rule. We rode west in the spring of '46, took a shortcut, bad luck we can't fix. Broken axle, your wounded hand, and now you're dying in this strange land. Paradise, guide us around the bend. Please let this winter end. Stop the sky from falling, oh, the cold from calling. No, sir, I cannot leave. Please save my children. I know some dreams weren't meant to be. The girls step out, dry and true. I will be along someday too. When you gave up, you believed in me. Now your soul is mine to keep. We shiver in this garden of thorns, under a blanket, thin and warm, dreaming our daughters are so very safe. Let's shed this skin, we're not arcane. Paradise, guide them around the bend. Please let this winter end. Oh, stop the sky from falling, the hill from calling. By your side for eternity. Some dreams weren't meant to be. The silence so harsh and cold. All my words eaten up by snow. Eggs, apples, corn, and milk. Will our daughters grow up strong without guilt? Paradise, guide them around the bend. Please let this winter end. Oh, stop the sky from falling, oh, the death from calling. Farewell, goodbye. Why did all my dreams turn into lies? I hear hummingbirds, meadows warm in the sun. Just like Carolina, where we come from. I float over the cabins and creek. Oh, girls, you made it to paradise without me.
Alice, good to hear you again.
Thank you, Daphne. Thank y'all.
My goodness, Alice, what a bunch to go on. You know, it's always a pleasure to get to know a little bit more about one of our Open Mic America alum. Thank you for being a part of the team and wonderful. You know, I'm always fascinated by the members of the team, and I've been kind of doing my best to learn what I can about you without actually knowing you in person. And you have a pretty good bio available for folks. And, it fascinates me that most of the people in the world around us today are consumed with what's happening on the news and what's happening in their local communities, as well as we should be. That's how we affect change where we see it needs to be. And then you have a real call to history. And that's amazing in a world of people that are consumed with the now. And so what is it in that thread that just, really you have that call to be a historian? Where does that come from?
My own family created history. I'm a product of that. And I've always been around history, and it makes sense for me. I love museums. I love learning. And I found out about the Donner Party through reading, through museums, through travel, and it all worked out together. So I believe I was called to do this.
Wow.
But I had to take a few extra steps myself. I had to step out of my home. I had to drive in a car. I had to fly in a plane. I had to do a little bit, and then it all started meshing together.
So I'm curious, when did your curiosity about her start? And then when did you actually start composing the songs or writing?
Sure. So I was on a plane to Denver, and I was next to a lady, and she said, "What's there to do in Reno?" And I said, "There's a Donner Memorial State Park. I can just call up these things." I said, "Oh yeah, of course. It's only 36 miles west of Reno." And she sent me pictures via text. And then that's when I knew this was something. And then I looked on the internet, and I said, 19th century American hero women, Tamsin Donner came up. She had a North Carolina connection. She was a school teacher in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Then George and Jacob Donner were from Rowan County outside of Charlotte, so there was a North Carolina connection. I was a docent at the North Carolina Museum of History at that point, and I brought that in, and I wanted to do a whole history thing. And then I had to go all out, because I'm not just in. I don't do half the work like the song John Stark. I have to go all in. So I read all the books, and then it was William Eddy who got me started. It was Tamsin Donner, but it was William Eddy who saved her kids, and he was the one that sparked me. And I said, I have to know more about this guy, and that was it. I visited his grave last month.
Oh, you've done a fabulous job.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah, we're connected now, and I'm connected to his descendants. So yeah.
Oh.
So then also in the current world, I noticed that you are deeply involved in your local farmers market, right? And so William Woltz had that. I just saw a common thread in today's show so far with a couple of artists. Also myself being, the local market is a big part of what we do, Tamara and I, in our local community. And so, so what is it about the farmers market in your region and in your life that makes that so you want to be a real key figure in that?
Oh, great question, Evan. My very, very first gig was at the Western Wake Farmers Market back in May of 2016, and I currently book all the musicians for the last 3 years at that market. So I book William and Loose Change, and a lot of folks come my way. I just finished up another booking, and we end in November, so I'll be sliding off that. That will be sliding off the schedule, and I also play at 3 other local markets too. It's a wonderful way to get to know people, and what William said about you can test out new things. Although I don't like really to test out new things, because I don't want to make too many mistakes. He can do that, but I'm like, no, not for me. I'm less.
If I could jump in for a second, they also tip with produce. You can come home with produce at the end of the day, and it's really cool.
Especially tomatoes and cantaloupe at Wake Forest. They're very generous.
Mm.
I love it. If I'm ever up there, then I sure would like to be booked for that, Alice, if you're booking people.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all that you do for Open Mic America and for what you do for the world around you. Specifically, helping to keep the things that were alive is really, we talked about the tapestry of song and those things that weave us together. And history is definitely a big part of that. Thank you for what you do.
Sure. And I just want to say one last thing. What the Donner Party can teach us is to be kind to strangers and to give a helping hand. Because none of the folks of the Donner Party would have been rescued had it not been for strangers stepping out of their zone and helping somebody they didn't know. And we can take that lesson today to heart.
Excellent.
Yes, we can.
Well stated. Daphne, what's next on the
Yes.
schedule tonight?
Hear, hear, Alice. Hear, hear. Next, we have Andy and Judy Daigle from Bridgewater, Massachusetts. And they like to play at the Java-Waki Coffee House in Brockton, Massachusetts. And now they are on Open Mic America. You have got the stage.
All right. Well, thank you. Hello, folks. We're coming to you from Bridgewater, Mass. Nice little town tucked into southeastern Massachusetts that no one has ever heard of. But we love it. We live in the woods, and it's a great town. We're going to play a song for you tonight that talks about the Sears and Roebuck catalog. And it's, we were down in New Jersey, and a lady came up and said, well, you sing different kinds of songs. And I didn't quite know how to take that, but I said, thank you very much. And we had a nice discussion about her granddad, who had purchased his kit house from Sears and Roebuck in the early 1900s, brought it to their home site and built it. And that was their family house. And it was just a really neat thing. So I came home and wrote a song about it. And the name of the song is Some Assembly Required. 2, 3, and... My Sears and Roebuck catalog of 1922 had an ad for something I could use, and I knew just what to do. Price was right and I could pay it off, so I signed on the bottom line. My American dream number 204 would very soon be mine. It was shipped in a separate railroad car to the depot right downtown. It was marked Modern Home, honor built by a company most renowned. At the building side, my friends and I were planning and making speeches. Thought it seemed a little weird to have my house delivered in pieces. Well, it's my home, my castle on the hill. No fancy brick pool or a spire. The deed to my American dream said some assembly required. Well, I picked a spot to build the house a lot among the clover. There's 30,000 parts in all, I hope there's none left over. Started in to raise the walls as waves began to blow. If the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be done before the snow. Well, it's my home, my castle on the hill. No fancy brick pool or a spire. The deed to my American dream said some assembly required. So come on in and take a tour. It's 6 rooms and a bath. It took all I had to buy this house at $3,000 cash. Today my Sears and Roebuck home is a bargain on the way. It's a testament to a bygone time when Sears could sell anything. Well, it's my home, my castle on the hill. No fancy brick pool or a spire. The deed to my American dream said some assembly required. Well, it's my home, my castle on the hill. No fancy brick pool or a spire. The deed to my American dream said some assembly required. One more time. The deed to my American dream said some assembly required.
Yay! Woo!
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a toe tapper right there.
Good song.
Cool tune.
Wow.
Thank you.
And now they're playing different instruments.
Oh yeah, we bring a raffle.
Yeah, this is one of our newer songs. We have not recorded this one yet. It's about a woman who owns a small diner in a small town. And the town had a big employer that was a factory, and the factory closed. So people are starting to leave, businesses are starting to close, but she's determined she's staying, and she's trying to keep the rest of the town to stay because she doesn't want her town to be a ghost town. And that's the name of the song, Another Ghost Town. Ready?
Yep.
Every morning I head out before the sun to the diner right downtown. It isn't much, but I own her free and clear. Folks still come around. I'll stay as long as they keep coming. Not ready to admit defeat. Some days it's hard to keep on smiling, knowing how it used to be. This town's built from our blood and sweat and tears. This town's been our heart and soul over the years. This town's trying to rebound since they closed the factory down. This town doesn't want to be another ghost town. Every 4 years the city folks come through, making speeches and shaking hands. They always stop in my diner for a while, where they lay out their big plans. And we believe what they are saying. Maybe that's why most folks stay. Promises won't feed your family, so one by one they move away. This town's built from our blood and sweat and tears. This town's been our heart and soul over the years. This town's trying to rebound since they closed the factory down. This town doesn't want to be another ghost town. It's 4 o'clock and everyone's gone home, so I close and lock the door. I look around and I see what used to be in the husks of vacant stores. I can hear the church bells tolling. They have a mournful sound. And I'll be here again tomorrow, in case there's anyone around. This town's built from our blood and sweat and tears. This town's been our heart and soul over the years. This town's trying to rebound since they closed the factory down. This town doesn't want to be another ghost town. Another ghost town.
Wow. A beautiful voice.
Beautiful.
Thank you, gosh.
Wow.
That was fabulous, guys.
Thank you.
Very, very nice.
Multi layers of talent, we see.
Yeah, absolutely. Capo Dave Williams has always had the vision that Open Mic America would be a place where the very best of each community would be represented. And I think you've done a really great job representing your community here today. And it makes me wonder some things. I see on your website that you've been working together as musicians since 2009, started writing songs in 2011, if I remember right. But, that makes me wonder, 2009, 2011, I think that you might be a couple years older than that. So it kind of makes me wonder, individually, when did you start making music? Andy and then Judy?
Well, my family was very musical. I was the youngest of five, so everybody was involved with something with music, either in theater or playing music or something like that. And my first guitar was a hand-me-down 12-string that only had 7 strings from my sister. And luckily it had one of each of the ones that I needed. It didn't have any spaces or anything. So I just started, fiddling around, learning with that. And, my background was folk music, was Peter, Paul and Mary and John Denver and Bob Dylan and Joan Baez and people and the Kingston Trio and people like that.
Excellent.
Yeah, and supposedly I was singing before I could speak. I've always loved to sing. And I wanted to join my church group. They had a folk group on Saturday afternoon mass. I was raised Catholic. And they played guitar. There was 3 people that played guitar and sang. So I asked to take guitar lessons at 6. So I took it for a couple of years and then I gave it up. But I never gave up singing. And I learned how to sing, I guess, relatively properly through my high school choir. And I sang some in college. And I did musical theater and that kind of stuff. And then I didn't do anything for a long time until I met Andy in 2006. So then we got into doing this, as you said, in 2009.
Yep.
You sound fabulous together. You really do.
Absolutely. And actually, you answered my next question, both of you, because I wondered what were your early musical inspirations. And I wondered if because really you demonstrate a level of skill that is very admirable and something for all of us to reach for. And I wondered if you had to learn that professionally. And what it took. Some people will take lessons and some people will just have a natural follow in it. And Andy, along the way, did you find that you had relatives that mentored you in proper chord structure? Because really what the two of you are doing is really technically very, very good and lyrically wonderful. I love your sense of community and everything. But yeah, so who taught you, Andy?
I did. Not really. Again, being the youngest of 5, the older ones were out of the house early, and I just wanted to learn. So I just would pick up any book any music books that were lying around that I could find, and they all had the fingering on the chords. So then you just learn how to make the right sounds when you play the songs, and then you play it with the record, and hopefully it sounds like you wanted it to sound, So it was really, I guess technically I'm self-taught.
Very good. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us on Open Mic America and bringing what you do best. You did very well today.
Well, thank you
so much.
And I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Yeah. As do we all. Daphne, what's up next?
Yes, and ditto. We are at our halfway mark. And opening the second half of our show is another person who I am proud to call my personal friend. I've known for many years, Mike Simpson from Saratoga, California. And Mike would like to give a little shout out to virtual open mics that he attends. One is Open Mic Arona. And the other one is one that suddenly, it's the Panned Open Mic, both run with communities in San Jose. So start out our second half, Mike Simpson.
Well, thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, our new to me team of announcers, and of course TK back in the back making sure the electrons line up like they're supposed to. And this is
I'm going to do something that I don't know if I'm still the only one that's ever done it. But if you look at the instructions, you can do original songs here. But you can also do songs which have a incept date earlier than 1925. I think that's related to lawyers and all that kind of thing. But so this is a song which was a favorite of mine. One of my set of my good friends once did an album called Schoolhouse, including songs that were all in the original Schoolhouse songbook that was pretty much everywhere in this country from the early 1900s, well, it's about 1911 on. And this is one of the songs that was in that book. And I've always been very fond of it. I picked up the song itself was originally, the melody is about 1872. And the versions of the song appear in 1904 and 1911. And then other people have added verses on it. I heard a guy named Doyle Dykes do it one time with a bluegrass band, and he had a couple of verses that were a little more suggestive. But I won't do those because Daphne would be offended, and I don't want to do that. This one's called Cindy. I wish I was an apple hanging on a tree, and every time that Cindy passed, she'd take a little bite of me. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. You ought to see my Cindy. She lives away down south, and she's so sweet the honeybees will swarm around her mouth. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. She told me that she loved me. She called me Sugar Plum. She drew her arms around me, and I thought my time had come. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. She loves me in the summertime, she loves me in the fall. She don't love me all the time, I want no love at all. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. The first time that I saw her, she was standing in the door, her shoes and her stockings in her hand, her feet all over the floor. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. But Cindy is a pretty girl, Cindy is a peach. She throws her arms all around my neck, and she hangs on like a leech. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday.
song.
A heritage
Just a little song.
song.
Like
Great
that.
heritage
Great.
song.
My wife's name is Cindy, so and I did marry her one day. But I wanted to ask you, what was that instrument you're playing?
That's the missing member of the mandolin family.
Baritone?
No, it's an octave mandolin, so it's tuned to also GDAE, but an octave lower than a regular
Oh,
mandolin.
that's so cool. I was like, he's playing an 8-string guitar, and I said, no, I bet that's like a member of the mandolin.
It's roughly speaking in the pitch center where the guitar is. The lowest string is tuned to the G. That's the same as a guitar that's tuned to standard tuning. The lowest string on the 3rd fret. That's that same note.
It sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do like it. This one's a little unusual. It's basically a direct descendant in terms of its construction of a Gibson L5, Lloyd Loar L5 guitar. Arch top and arch back, and the bracing is identical to scaled, but otherwise identical to the one of these. All right, so this is a song that failed in its mission because the people in it, I must, for pure honesty, say, are not any longer involved with one another, or not much involved anyway. But I thought the song was worth keeping, so I didn't burn it. This is the story of one true love, one kind of glory in tried and true love. Only one star was needed, only one voice was heeded. There was never anyone but you. This is a voyage with one destination, a journey made with no hesitation. Only two hearts involved here, one light that always shone clear. There was never anyone but you. Other loves are labyrinths with twists and turns, never knowing where for sure your heart is leading you. Other loves might somehow miss their guiding star, but our star shone so bright, it led me straight to you. We shall always sail together, never drift apart, beating down the winds of time as one true heart, steering our course together in storm or sunny weather. There was never anyone but you.
one thing always for certain, there was never anyone but you.
Oh, how elegant, Mike.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Wow. Elegant.
Indeed, masterfully played, very well written, and based on what you said, I assume the song is yours. Yes.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah,
mine.
okay,
The
I
first one,
thought so.
Cindy ain't, but the second one is, yeah.
Yeah. You didn't explicitly say that, but I felt as though it was wonderful. So I noticed also I didn't know exactly what the other instrument was either. Did a quick Google search, and so found it was a member of the mandolin family. But the one thing that I do see in common between those and possibly even the guitar that we just see the bottom of behind you and up above you on your left shoulder, archtop. And so when did you draw an affinity to archtop instruments? And right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a thing that has caused people to say "I hate you" when I tell them this. My first guitar at age not quite 9 was a thing called a Gibson Super 400. It was a 1931 Gibson Super 400 that my grandpa gave me. And that's what I started out on, and so that's an archtop. So pretty much from day one for me. Yeah, when I played porch music with family members who literally in Kansas out on the porch play music, I usually was the banjo player because it's in some senses simpler.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm curious, how many instruments do you play? I see an upright bass. You have the 8-string guitar, which is of the mandolin genre. You have your Gibson from your grandfather.
You mentioned the banjo.
Yes.
Well, from right here, I can see a violin that I can't play. I can see an Irish drum that I can. I see a few guitars. I play, dobro, square-neck dobro, the slide this way kind of thing. I play mandolin, regular mandolin. I can get by on the bagpipes and a tin whistle and things like that. So, whatever comes to hand, basically.
That is fabulous. You'll have to come to Hillsborough sometime.
No doubt. And I have to say that as far as my experience with Open Mic America, you are the first person that joins me as a bagpipe player. So, yeah.
Well, I'm not really a bagpipe player.
I know, me neither, but it's fun when I do it. People, either say it's too loud or they have fun with it, So.
And I love the samba tempo. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
that
really
was
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
bossa nova, yeah.
Bossa Nova. Well, you can tell how educated I am in that, but I loved it, whatever it is.
It was very good. Thank you, Mike.
Sure.
We appreciate you tonight. Daphne, what's next?
I am muted. There we are. That always helps if you want to be heard to unmute, right? Thank you, Mike. That was wonderful as always. And next we have someone who's also on our hosting team, wearing a different hat today, Rich Fessler from
Yeah.
Bainbridge Island, Washington. And he plays at the Fletcher Bay Winery and the Seabold Second Saturday Open Mic on Bainbridge Island. And he's also a regular at the Music Matters Showcase virtual open mic, which is Saturday nights from Maryland. I'm going to check that one out. And he likes to play a lot of music, it looks like. He plays locally with the Sundog Syndicate, most recently at last Friday's that's complicated. Last Friday's First Friday Art Walk on the island. Oh, you are all over, Rich, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad you're here with us today.
Well, it is wonderful to be here. It was difficult for me to write that. I can understand why you had a hard time. The first Friday, last Friday, first Friday, yeah. So yeah. Welcome everybody to Bainbridge Island, Washington. We're about, we're a 35-minute ferry ride west of Seattle. A nice little community, about 25,000 people. And there's a whole lot going on here, music-wise and art-wise. And so the first Friday of every month during the summer, they have a First Friday Art Walk. And the stores are open late. A lot of the local artists have their paintings for sale. And every 3 or 4 stores down the main drag Winslow Way, there are performers. So we really enjoy playing that because it brings the whole community out, and it's very, very low key, very friendly, neighborly kind of event. So. All right, so I'm going to play a couple tunes for you here today. And first one is called The Prince of Sunny Days, kind of about friendship. So here we go. That saying goes, every turn you take is wrong. No matter how you planned ahead, said the word you chose. Whoops, somewhere here, there it is. You never felt like you belong. If you feel like you just can't go on, and the world's a smoky haze, I will walk you through the storm. I'll be your prince of sunny days. We were young, we all had dreams of what we could become. You saw yourself up, I cannot make that chord. Saw yourself on the stage, but not all dreams turn out that way. Life's too burdensome, dream remains, don't let it disengage. Well, if you feel like you just can't go on, and the world's a smoky haze, hold on tight, I will walk you through the storm. I'll be your prince of sunny days. Thank you. I had a little trouble with that. That D7. I just couldn't get there.
Gosh, you didn't have to tell us. We wouldn't know.
That
was a great chorus. Such an uplifting song.
Well, thank you.
Very cool, Rich. Very cool.
Thank you very much. Okay, now the most important thing for this next song is I must remember to turn the string up to, that was a drop D, turn the string up to an E. So, bear with me while I do that.
I've got to say it was a bit of an earworm, Rich.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a very
chorus,
nice compliment.
The chorus with that bass moving up was an earworm, yes.
Thanks. Okay, my next little tune here is called A Mystery to Me. I wrote this about a month ago, and it makes a reference to, Andy and Judy, you're the ones from Massachusetts, right? Yeah, so it makes a reference to a town in Massachusetts. Doesn't have much to do with the song, but it kind of came to me, and I thought I would, I'd include it. So here we go. I was born just south of Boston in a famous little town. Story about a woman's fury chopped her parents to the ground. Jury foreman said not guilty. How on earth does life go on? It's just a mystery to me. Well, I never knew my mother. She just couldn't stand the shame. Don't know where on earth my father, he refused to share his name. But I'm sure they'll try to find me if I ever achieve some fame. Just a mystery to me. Well, my childhood was a blur, moved around from home to home. Never had a stable family, I always felt alone. When a court said you're a man, I knew that I would roam. But deep inside I didn't know if I could make it on my own. Driving west to Arizona, oh, I stopped for a little rest. And I met a woman, damn, it's just like me. We discussed our past and present and the loneliness of lost. She was not a mystery to me. Stop those thoughts, yeah, take a look around inside. There's no reason you should feel any shame. I can be your wall and you can be my light, and we can join together and move aside our pain. Many years have been together, raised a family of our own. There's no way I could have seen my destiny being part of something bigger, full of love and harmony. My world has opened up to me. There's a moral to this story. It's a simple one but true. Don't let your history and sorrow define you. Even though my path to happiness wasn't possible to see, my life is fine and clear to me.
Yes.
There you go.
Good job, Rich.
Fall
you.
River.
Good job, man.
Fall River, that's right, Fall
Fabulous.
River. Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden.
Yeah, I was actually born in Fall River.
Were you? Very
So there you
cool.
go.
Nice.
Small world.
Yeah.
Indeed. Let's see if we can maybe make this huge place that we live in just a little bit smaller now that you mention it. Because, you know, since I've known you here at Open Mic America through your volunteerism and through the other online open mics that Daphne mentioned that you attend, you know, I've always kind of wondered, I'm around hundreds of musicians. I've known thousands. and of all of them, some like globally known, some locally known, to find a musician who wants to step out and be an MC, to be a vocal voice, advocating for others is really pretty rare. And, if a person listens to both of your songs that you just sang, you can put the pieces together, and I have in my own mind, but really to hear it from your own lips, I have a couple of questions for you.
Well,
So,
fire away.
okay, so you said in the first song, and you were singing third person, but you were saying, so if you feel like you don't fit in, I mean, I have never really felt like I fit in anywhere except right here with my bride, and I'm thankful that she came into my life because I do belong here. But I just always seem to be a little bit out of step with everybody else and don't feel like I fit in. But yet, so when you sang that, at what point did you decide to take that step and to be the front man and to say those things and to help other people say them too?
Well, what a great question. I don't know what the answer is. You know, well. First off, let me say that like many of us, we get a little snippet of something, a tune, and then we fit some words around it, and it kind of snowballs, right? And it turns into a song. But as a musician, when I was younger, in high school and in college, I was super competitive, and it's only within the last last 10 years, maybe 20 years, it's like, just slow down, see what you do to help people. I mean, just it's not all about it's, speaking to myself, it's not all about you, right? And you can learn so much. So I don't know. I think that was just kind of floating around there. I think it's something after you retire, like me, and and you get to live a second life. I remember reading this on somebody's Facebook page. It's a famous quote, I think. But the first part of your life is when you're young, you're at school, you want to get a job, want to raise a family, and you get there, and then you retire. And now it's your second part of your life, right? And so that's where I am now. And as far as I'm concerned, it's all about being nicer, and it's volunteering and things like that. So long-winded answer.
And actually really great. So that makes me wonder, since you have a voice that is willing to step out and do that kind of thing, what would you say to somebody who is watching this broadcast and who feels like maybe they want to volunteer and be an MC for a local farmer's market or something like that? What would you say to inspire them to step out and do that?
Oh, just do it. I mean, I've always been kind of extroverted, and when I was working, I was in sales and marketing, so it kind of fits my personality. There are some people that that it's a real jump to do that, but I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen, right? I mean, it doesn't work out, and then you go home and you figure something else to do. So, hey, if you feel like doing something, just go out and do it. Go out and try it. Because, you wake up one day and you're 70-something and you say, whew, is that the light at the end of the tunnel there? So, while you can, go out and do it. That's what I would say.
Great. Good answers, Rich. Thank you for bringing the music tonight. Daphne, what do we have on the table now?
Such inspiration
this
evening. My goodness, I'm loving it. And we only have 2 more performers left. And so next up, we have Tony Lowe from Greensboro, North Carolina. And he likes to play at the Bull City Cider in Greensboro and the Little Oblivion Brewing in Graham, North Carolina. And he's going to be there next Saturday, October 15th. But this Sunday, he is at Open Mic America. So take it away, Tony.
Oh, okay. Hey, thank you. It's good to be here, and I'd like to thank Alice for informing me about this. I think it's amazing we have 3 people from North Carolina on tonight. Anyway, This is a song called. I decided I was going to be low key tonight because I think it just fits in better, and I'm just in a low key mood. So I'm going to play an older song called "Eternal Dawn," and it's just really about just sort of I don't know, just sort of like the state of everything, and it's about really everyone. Lonesome robot tankers sail deserted seas tonight. Travel through the vortex of a black and starless night. Searching to find a safe harbor for the night. Suddenly a star shines brightly, reflecting on the sea before me. A beacon reaching no one, reaching out so silently. Searching to find a safe harbor for the night. All my friends are coming with me. Crowd along, eternal dawn. As we walk through the wasteland and ignore reality. Searching to find a safe harbor for the night. Defies all understanding, adrift but never landing, and those lonesome tankers sail deserted seas tonight. Through the night, through the night, through the night, through the night, sail those lonely seas tonight.
Oh, such a nice song.
Mellow but beauty. Yeah.
That's a nice mellow song. I was going to do something else, a new song, but I just figured out it's too late and I'm not in that kind of mood anymore. So I'm just in a mellow, low key mood. Anyway, I had to change guitars because this one is in open D. And this is from my last album that came out a couple of years ago. Alice is familiar with it. It's called To New York. And it's a song called Hum of the Neighborhood. And it's a song I wrote sort of like about my first experience living away from home. I'm from New York, by the way. I moved to Greensboro, North Carolina in 2003. But I'm really a transplanted Yankee. who didn't decide to live in Cary, North Carolina, because that stands for Containment Area for Relocated Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a song called "Hum of the Neighborhood," and it's about your first experience living away from home. Those times I walked inside a new door, fell to my knees, crying, please no more. Exquisite loneliness was all that I knew, but it was something I just had to do. That's when I found myself with you, 'cause I'm going down soon, like a valley beckoning to me, and I'm heading out soon. I remember walking city streets on my own, felt the hum of the neighborhood, or was that just a moan? That's when I found myself with you, 'cause I'm going down soon, like a valley beckoning to me, and I'm heading out soon. Downtown River's Edge will change your life for good. Caught in a surreal movie, you do the best that you could. That's when I found myself with you, 'cause I'm going down soon, like a valley beckoning to me, and I'm heading out soon. That's when I found myself with you, 'cause I'm going down soon, like a valley that's beckoning to me, and I'm going down soon. I said I'm going down soon. Thank you.
Yes.
Tony!
Yeah. Tony,
Bravo.
that's great, man.
Yay!
I hope
So,
that was mellow enough to fit the mood of the evening.
I like the way you're changing what you're doing in order to, to make this an evening. That's pretty cool.
very
Yeah, I was
good.
gonna do a new song of mine, and I just, it's just the feeling with the way it, with all the other music. It's just like I wouldn't fit tonight. Maybe some other time. So I decided to get mellow.
So, what was the draw for you to move to Carolinas, through the Carolinas. Northeast.
Well, I'm a New Yorker, but I have a North Carolina connection. My father it was from New York too, but he went to the University of North Carolina. He went to NYU for 1 year. And then, of all places, he transferred to the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. And I ended up going there too. Growing up in New York, I heard about, Chapel Hill since I was like, knee high to a grasshopper. And I actually got in on a music scholarship. I played the trombone back then. And I auditioned in front of the music department, and I got a scholarship. And that's how, because my high school grades sure weren't good enough to get in from out of state into Chapel Hill. So luckily, I got in that way through music.
So that makes me curious. What other instruments do you play besides the trombone?
Oh, I play bass guitar. I actually played bass guitar before I played guitar. The trombone, of course. I play, piano a little bit. Okay at that, I guess. I shake a mean tambourine and an egg shaker. And I'm sure I'm leaving something else out. I play the baritone horn or the euphonium.
The level of the musicianship that we have represented this evening is just nothing but spectacular. I am so impressed with the quality of the sound and the
So Tony,
variety.
I'm kind of curious. So when you introduced the song, you were saying I had intended on playing, but I set a mood, and but I'd rather do this one instead. And I noticed that on your Facebook page that you actually do a lot of performing locally. I mean, like it looks like you had 5 or 6 performances, gigs in September alone. And so what I'm curious about is when you go to a gig, do you have a preset set list, and whether you feel like playing that song again or not, you play it anyway, or do you mix it up live and on the spot like you did tonight?
No, that's really a great question. Usually, I would say 95% of the time I stick to the set list. But if I'm noticing that, I'll go to 2 extremes. If I'm noticing that the people are really, into it and are in a partying mood, I'll say, I'm not going to do that song. I'm going to do, Secret Agent Man. I do mostly my own stuff, but I throw in a few what I feel are cool covers, whether or not other people listening to it feel are cool. That's another thing. But on another extreme, like if I'm feeling like, I was going to play something sort of upbeat, but the crowd is just, just sort of like, engaged with, having, drinking beer with their friends and aren't going to notice anyway. I'll say like, what, forget it. It's like, it's just going to be putting out a lot of energy and just sort of into a void, a black hole. So, and sometimes, audiences are like that. Sometimes, at breweries, and I'm sure some of you, listening can relate to this, the audiences are just, you're there as background music or, background noise. But sometimes, crowds are really, appreciative and are really, you get a couple of people who are just sitting there like looking at you, and really, digging the music and focusing on you, and maybe once in a while even want to buy one of your CDs,
Right
Some
on.
of you still remember those.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Tony. Great mood tonight. Thank you for bringing it to Open Mic America.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Daphne, what do we got now?
Yes, and now we are going to be asking of Mark Bishop Evans from Phoenix, Arizona, to take us home. Yes, we are coming to the end of our show, and he's going to take us home. Sometimes he plays at the Tempe Center for the Arts and the Arizona Live Music Cooperative, and now he's here with us. Welcome back, and you have the stage.
Thank you, Daphne. Great to see y'all. Great to be back here. This is a song that I wrote a couple of weeks ago with a collaborator, and I, didn't do that till a couple of weeks ago, ever. And so I was away at a songwriting retreat, and I wrote 4 new songs with 4 different people in a week. So this one, however, is kind of special. And the lady, Kelly Armitage, who I wrote this with, is also very special. And I think you'll probably hear her name at some point. And she hasn't figured out yet how good she is. And but this song is called Painter of My Days, and it's one that we wrote together. Raindrops falling down at my window, thinking about the nights before you came. My life was not so bad, couldn't say that I was sad, just missing something hard to explain. All my days played in black and white. Then you came along, colored in my life. The turquoise of your eyes is now my new sunrise. Such a perfect point of view. As I step out on my way, it's like a rainbow display, spider webs of magic morning dew. Once I knew your smile, the world took on a brand new style, an exhibition like I'd never seen. I wonder at each detail, nothing too small or pale. I learned the beauty of the spaces in between, and all my days played in black and white. Then you came along, colored in my life. The turquoise of your eyes is now my new sunrise. Such a perfect point of view. As I step out on my way, it's like a rainbow display, spider webs of magic morning dew. And when at last it's time to dream, together in a purple haze, you wrap your arms around me, painter of my day. In all this time gone by, our colors didn't fade, it just acquired a deeper shade. The turquoise of your eyes, now my new sunrise, such a perfect point of view. As I step out on my way, it's like a rainbow display, spider webs of magic morning dew. And when at last it's time to dream, together in a purple haze, you wrap your arms around me, painter of my day. You wrap your arms around me, painter of my days. Ooh, painter of my days. Ooh, painter of my days.
Another hit.
Good job, Mr. Evans.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow is a National Indigenous Peoples Day. And earlier this year, I wrote this song. It actually had been a number of years in the making, and it finally came together. It's called Spirit Hearts. And it's about the residential schools that the Native Americans were subjugated to in the 1900s. Many years ago, when this land was our beautiful home, and buffalo and deer and the children of our people could roam, we hunted and we played and we lived and we loved as we pleased, taking what we needed while living with the mother in peace. Now life had been that way for our people for so many years, that how could we imagine a future full of so many tears? On the distant day when we saw the first white man appear, we opened up our arms, never knowing we had so much to fear. What started as a trickle eventually became a white flood. It swept across the land, leaving nothing but fire and blood. We tried to stand our ground and hold to a measure of pride, but all we did was nothing when placed against that onrushing tide. The soldiers and the miners and the farmers, they came and they came, until we had to bow and finally surrender our claim. They gathered what was left of us, sent us to a forsaken land. Many of our children died mid the cactus and sand. Spirit hearts, all alone. Spirit hearts need a home. Little hearts left to roam. Spirit hearts, bring them home. Apparently all the pain and sorrow just wasn't enough. So then they came and gathered up the children and took them from us. They said they would teach them and train them to live a new life. So how could we imagine how many of our babies would die? They put them all in uniforms, marched them off to what they called schools. Many of them died just because they couldn't follow the rules. They cut off all their hair, stripped away all that they were. And those who survived are broken and scarred. Many years have passed since the last of those places were closed. How many children never came home, nobody knows. But by all accounts, there were several thousand children who died. The churches and the governments are now admitting how much they lied. So we go on searching for places where they can be found, to rescue little hearts that are buried in unholy ground, gathering them up from the places where they are unknown, weeping as we honor these children we're bringing home. Spirit hearts all alone, spirit hearts need a home, little hearts left to roam. Spirit hearts, bring them home. Spirit hearts coming home.
Wow.
Full song.
And your stuff, man.
Thank you so much, Mark, for that song.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you for on behalf of those that you're singing about there. Thank you for remembering and bringing it to the forefront of the human existence today through Open Mic America. Mark, I'm going to ask you a question, and at first it may not seem to be musically related, but I truly believe that it is, especially since in the song you mentioned that they cut off their hair. And it takes a while to sport a mane like the one you currently have. How long did it take to get your long hair?
I started growing. I haven't gotten a haircut since the pandemic hit.
Wow, 3 years.
I got a haircut probably a month or so before the pandemic hit, and that was the last one I've had.
Well, my goodness, I'd like to find out what kind of supplements you take on the side, because I'd like mine to grow like that too. But so now back to where it comes in musically speaking. I noticed before when you were on Open Mic America, and I thought, wow, that's really good. And I started looking you up. You've been playing that particular Taylor guitar for a while now. How long? I mean, because you're very clearly at home with the strings, and that guitar really matches you well. How long have you been playing that particular guitar?
I've had that guitar since 2013.
Wow. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It was new then, and so yeah.
Excellent. So, as somebody, again, like I say, that looked up some things about you, I found that you started off playing the trumpet, and, and that you decided you wanted to sing. And that is really fun. I, for one, want to say I'd never heard you play the trumpet, but for the rest of us listening, that was a wonderful choice. You're a very talented singer-songwriter, and it is a real blessing to have you on the Open Mic America stage.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Daphne?
It is indeed wonderful to have you again on the stage and to close the show for us. So thank you for that. And I want to thank everybody. We all want to thank everybody. Let's do it one by one. Sadly, we lost John Paul Dove to internet issues. He sent me an email, but we could still thank him. So thank you, William Woltz. Thank you, John Paul Dove, Alice Osborne, Andy and Judy, Mike Simpson, Rich Fassler, Tony Lowe, and Mark Bishop Evans for playing on Open Mic America and telling us some of your stories in music and also just in interviews here tonight. You can find links to the work of all these performers on our website and at the bottom of this YouTube video description as well, just like we said. So we also want to thank our hosts. We have a new team. Evan was with us before, but Tamara was not. So Evan and Tamara AC is our interviewing team. Thank you. And we have TK Tran back at the engineering, and thank you for that. TK, it's good to have you back. And as always, we have Kate O'Day Williams, our fearless founder, who, is behind the scenes on all of this, and sometimes right in the scene. Remember to check our website for everything, including for links to where you can find live music and virtual open mics also. And if you like the show, spread the word. Don't keep it a secret. You can print posters or t-shirts using our website. And you can just tell all your friends. You can share on Facebook. We send links all the time, and on Instagram. So there's a lot of ways to do that. Our next show is on October 16th. That's next Sunday, with Laura Bordowitz and Dave Williams, our host. So stay tuned for the next full lineup. So now we're going to have everybody muted and waving goodbye to you, including me. And we all want to say, good night, America.
If you meet me at the corner of Russell and Albina, just about a block from Mississippi Avenue, I'll take you to a house where they hang carpets on the wall. And if we go there on a Sunday, there's a song I'll take you through.
All right, we're